Hello everyone, this is David Ullman. This is video Forum 2, Ethical Violations and Board Discipline. At the website Alabama Board of Examiners, in the index of final orders, there is a list of cases that have come before the Alabama Board of Examiners. The list goes all the way back to December of 1991 and it goes through March of 2019. During that time, only 51 cases have been heard in the state of Alabama. Personal note, I believe that's a low number because I got online and looked in 2018. The U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics stated that there were 1,600 substance abuse, behavioral disorder, and mental health counselors in the state of Alabama. That's just one category. There was also rehabilitation counselors and other various types of counseling. And for me, that's a good number. Of course, you want that number to be zero. You never want a ethical violation. But I think that bodes well for the state of Alabama that in 29 years there has only been 51 cases heard. Now, I noticed a trend in those cases. Out of the 51 cases heard in the state of Alabama, 27 of those cases dealt with a violation under Section A of the Code of Ethics, which deals with counselor relationships. And out of those violations in Section A, the most common that I noticed a lot was Section A.6, which was dual relationships. Now, I was a little rusty on what dual relationships mean, so I went back into our textbook for this semester and read what Rimley had to say, which states that dual relationships is multiple roles exist between the therapist and client. Examples is that a client is a student. It could be a personal friend. It could be a family member. It could be someone you're in business with. In other words, it is a relationship that you have with your client outside of work that was previous before the client became your client. You had some type of personal relationship with them. Now, the Alabama Code of Ethics takes this very seriously. There's actually 2 locations in the Alabama Code of Ethics that deal with dual relationships, and that's what they call it. One is, of course, A.6, and also there is Supplement 4, Standard of Practice, which also states dual relationships. And the Alabama Code of Ethics states, licensed professional counselors must make every effort to avoid dual relationships with client. In other words, to try to avoid them. The ACA Code of Ethics never mentions the word dual relationships. However, they state in Section A.5.d, which is friends and family members, that it's actually prohibited if the counselor realizes they cannot be objective. And also, Section A.6.a deals with previous relationships, like previous relationships, friends, some of the same principles that applied earlier, co-workers, things like that, of previous relationships. Now, having a dual relationship is not an ethical violation. The ethical violation takes place when the counselor does not treat the client ethically, and because of that dual relationship, it affects the counseling relationship. Rimley said it best when I was reading up on dual relationships when he said, it's not dual relating in itself that creates an ethical problem. Rather, it is the possibility that the counselor might exploit clients or misuse power. And the chances of this happening in dual relationships is multiplied because of the intimacy between the counselor and the client. Now, the case that I looked at, out of the cases that I looked at on the website, was actually a counselor that I used to go to. I was really shocked to see her name listed. Lynn McLean was a counselor that I went to about 15 years ago for marriage counseling. And Lynn McLean in 2014 had her license revoked. And all of her violations took place in Section A. She had a violation in Section A.C, which was counseling plans, forming counseling plans and freedom of choice. Section A.3.A, informed consent disclosure. Section A.8, multiple clients, which deal with husband, wife, parent, and child. Section A.13, role changes in counseling relationships. She violated that. She violated supplement 1, 2, and 3, avoiding harm to clients, disclosure to clients, and supplement 11, role changes. Because of these ethical violations, her license was revoked, which was very alarming because I used to go to her. To me, this is the saddest form of ethical violation there is, because clients were harmed in the process. A counselor in some way hurt a client. Clients come to counselors. They come to us when we become counselors with trust and hope that we will help them. And when we violate that trust and hope, it's the client that is hurt. And so all ethical violations are wrong and bad, of course, but it's really sad because just looking over these cases, to me, it feels like the client that came to these counselors probably left in worse shape than when they first came. Thank you.